Hello dear viewer and welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to start something new for you and me, a new series that I'm gonna call This Week I Learned. So in the first episode of Twill, I'm gonna go back over a simple effect that you can realize, which is to turn a footage like this one into something out of WANDA Vision simply by snapping your finger like this. Now I'm just kidding, obviously it is not that easy, but it is not very complicated either. To show you how you can achieve that look into your editing tool of choice, I'm using Davinci Resolve, but it works if you're using Final Cut Pro or whatever your tool, it's gonna work the same way, but I've talked more than enough, so let me jump into Davinci Resolve and show you how we can achieve this look. So here in Davinci Resolve, I've already set up my timeline, I've already put my clip, that's the one from the intro we've just seen, and the very first step in getting this set up will be to add an adjustment layer or an adjustment clip. To do so in Davinci Resolve, it's very easy. You go into the effect library, you've got that here at the top, you simply click on it, and then in the toolbox under effect, you can select adjustment clip. A simple drag and drop into the timeline will allow you to dispose the clip, and then I can adjust the length in one direction or the other. So that's very easy. I'm just gonna add it to the very end here. I don't need this anymore, so I can close my effect library, but that's already the first step. So the very first things in WANDA Vision look is the lack of color, is the black and white feel. So to do so, we're simply gonna convert this look into a black and white. To do that, I'm gonna jump into the color tab. Now in the color tab, I need to make sure a couple of things are selected. To start, I'm gonna select the clip. That is very important. That allows me to select which of my clip I wanna work on. And then I'm gonna also turn on the timeline. This is simply to see which of my clip I've selected, which video track are being played. And in our case, we wanna make sure we have the adjustment clip. Then turns on the node. In our case, we will do something very simple. We're simply gonna add one, add serial, and we're gonna rename the very first one saturation. This is where we're gonna remove the saturation, but then the look will be a bit flat. So then we're gonna bring that to life with some contrast, change my saturation. So I'm gonna come into the primary wheel at the bottom. I'm gonna take saturation and go all the way to 0. When I'm doing this, my footage is now black and white, but as I said, it's a bit flat. So now we can jump into contrast, and here I can start adjusting my contrast. I can do this either playing with the contrast wheel and then adjusting that with pivots to go where exactly I want to get, or I could simply do this into some of the curves, and here I can adjust it by bringing my shadow down a little bit, my highlight up a little bit, and then I got a little bit more contrast. If I decide to play, I can see how that feels and have a feeling for the look I have here. I think this is maybe a little bit too contrasty, so maybe I'm gonna reduce that a little bit. Maybe the shadow can go up a little bit. Yeah, maybe a bit more here. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think this looks great. Perfect, I'll keep it. So now I really have that first look. So if I come back into my edit, I can see that if I'm outside with the adjustment clip, I've got my colors. As soon as I reach the adjustment clip, I've got those black and white feeling in. And if I wanted to disable the track line, I wouldn't have any of that. Now, if you're wondering why I'm using an adjustment clip, there's a few reasons for that. If you're using Adobe Premiere Pro, that's probably a really good reason for you. Everything is on layer over there. And if your laptop is not super powerful, you can fully disable that adjustment layer by disabling the video track, which allows me to work on my footage, my transition, my storytelling, without having all the workloads on my laptop for adjusting the colors. I can disable that. So if your laptop is a bit slow, using adjustment clip to work on some effects, some color grading is a nice way to preserve some performance, for example. Now we want to find what are the transition points. Remember, I was snapping my fingers, so roughly around here. That's when I will want to bring this. And now if I'm playing the clip, I can see I have colors. I'm gonna snap my finger, and now I am black and white. That is pretty much a good advance already, but we're not fully there. I think it would be great to have some kind of film damage, some kind of effect that really sell this a little bit further. That is very easy to achieve as well. To do that in the edit tab still, on my adjustment clip, I will want to add some special effects. So back into the effect library, and we're gonna be searching for film damage. That's one gonna give us that retro effect, and we're gonna drop it into the adjustment clip. That's gonna add some film damage. You can see a little bit of that here already. Now we can go and configure that. So let's close the effect library and let's open the inspector, which is here on the top right corner. On the inspector, I can either see some metadata around my video itself. We might play a bit around that, but what I'm really interested in is the effect tab. By clicking here, I can see the film damage. I could click on it if I need to open it and see more detail, but this is really where we can start playing around. If I want to keep my footage really sharp, which is something I want to achieve, I'm going to reduce the blur to 0. Let me change that clip. I look awful on this one. There we go. Now we can add some dirt to really bring aging to that footage. So if I increase the density of the dirt, we can really see that it's getting all over the place, and as I play, we can see that it's really damaged. That's probably a bit too much at 8. I like to keep it maybe around 4. I think 4 is alright. We can change the size of the dirt if I want to get like less of them or more of them. I think the default value is fine. If you decide to change this, you can always reset it by clicking on the rewind wheel here. I'm gonna reset that. The dirt blur as well, that can change if you want more sharp or more blurred. I like the default value. I don't really want to change that too much. But then what I like to change is a scratch. So we already have a first scratch. If you want to find it, it's this one here, right there. You can see that bar there, that's the scratch. I like to have a second one, and I like them to be moving, so I'm just gonna enable a second scratch. Again, keeping the default value, but you can play around if you want them to move a bit more around, if you want to change the speed at which they move. All of those things can be there, and we can add all the way to 5 scratches. I think that's more than enough to sell really the effect for me, and if we play now, it really sells that old effect. We can see that this one is not moving, so let's go back and see what is it that we've changed or moved. So that is moving, the second one is not moving, so let's enable the movement. And now as we play, we can see the scratch moving, really give me that kind of old vintage effect. We've adjusted the image, but we haven't adjusted the sound. So if we play a section, we can see the sound is still the original one. Let's have a go. Obviously, it is not that easy. So now we want to bring that sound to the 80s as well. We want to damage it in the same way. So here I don't really have found an adjustment clip idea yet. So what we're gonna have to do is to break the clip. So I'm gonna break that here. I can use the razor if I wanna break the clip in 2, and now we can see that demarcation line here. But now I can select my audio, go into the inspector. If you don't have it open, it's here on the right hand side. Rather than being on video, I will select audio, and then I can scroll all the way down to the equalizer. What is very typical of a sound from the 80s is that the high end of the spectrum is really exaggerated. So to achieve that, I'm gonna disable band 3 and 2. We won't gonna need that for this. And I'm gonna change the type of band 4. So to do that, I'm gonna change from this icon here all the way to this one, saying that we want to go up from our entry point. So let me change that one here. And then I'm simply gonna take 4 up, and then I'm maybe gonna move that more towards the 1000, 2000 band here, roughly. Now, if we give a listen to this, we will realize that the sound has been modified already. Obviously, it is not that easy, and I can play with that a bit more. If I want to increase that emphasis, I can go a bit further. Obviously, it is not that easy, and I can really play around that. I kind of like what we've got here, so I'm gonna keep it like this. And now I have not only a change in the appearance of the video, but also on the audio. However, I am not really good at snapping my finger, so we can add a bit of sound design. I already have something in my media pool. I've got here a snapping finger sound. So I'm just gonna bring that down here, and then maybe let's zoom in to really kind of time those things up together nicely. So that's why I clap my finger. So I'm gonna align the sound here, and now if I'm playing it, we can really have that effect. Finger like this. Now I'm just kidding. And that is way better. I think we've got everything here. So sound design is something we can do to enrich our video. That is not exactly the topic of today, so it's very light. But this is how I've achieved my WANDA Vision look. By taking the footage, removing the color, playing a bit with the contrast, adding some film damage to make it go a little bit further. I could have had some film grain, but it is only if you pay for Davinci Resolve. I'm still a cheapskate, so still on the free version. I hope this was useful and give you a bit of an insight on how we can achieve this look. If you like this video, give me a thumb up. Let me know that this was useful. If you're thinking of subscribing, maybe don't do it. I'm not sure I'm the right channel for you. I'm a bit all over the place. There is plenty of other channels that deserve your subscription. I know these are rare and valuable, so don't make a mistake. For everybody else, I will see you in the next one. Probably episode 2 of Twill, what I've learned this week. In the meantime, since I don't know what to say and this video is already long enough, I wish you a very great day, a very great week, a very good weekend. Whenever you're watching this, I hope you're having a good time. I will see you in the next one. Ciao.